Okay. So today we're going to talk about the rental process, how things go with rentals and what the rental process looks like, and how to build your rental clients by using a third-party website called Renthop. So we'll get started. So again, one of the most important things to remember is that we have three different types of buildings in New York, and all of them have rentals in them. So we have rental buildings where the entire building is rentals. Maybe there's a commercial space on the ground floor with rentals above. Usually there is one owner or one company that owns the entire building. Potentially a bunch of people own the building. Again, our office, it's commercial on the ground floor and where our office is, and there's two rentals above, right? And so we would call that a rental building. There are also rentals in condos and co-ops, right? So an individual condo owner can rent their unit. Usually they have to go through board approval. And oftentimes an individual co-op owner can rent their unit as well. And they also have to go through co-op approval process most of the time. In terms of exclusive levels and different levels of exclusivity with apartments, one is an exclusive listing, right? And that's where one agent or one firm has the right to advertise that property. Another is a limited listing where only a few agents or firms have the right to advertise. And the most general, the broadest, is what we would call open listings, right? And that's where anyone potentially has the right to advertise and to show that property. The important thing to remember here is that with exclusive listings that are not your exclusives, we can't put them on any websites, right? We don't have that right. With limited listings, we may, and again, I'll use an example. There's a management company called Brusco Management. They are a limited listing firm, right? They use brokers, but there's only a couple different companies. One of our agents has access to those apartments and he's able to advertise them. And a couple other companies can advertise them. But I can't advertise them and you can't advertise them because it's a limited listing of those certain agents. Again, open listings are one where anyone can advertise them. Again, there are some open listings. Algan Management's a good example of that, where we cannot advertise them because they've specifically said you cannot advertise these on third-party websites. Again, the most important thing is to only advertise open and marketable listings, non-exclusives, or not limited listings unless you have access to them. So again, we're going to be going over the rental process for when you have a tenant. Most of the time when you get a rental lead from Weichert Lead Network, Weichert Rental Network, I apologize, from OpCity, from advertising on Renthop, you're going to go through a very similar process, right? We're going to be kind of representing the tenant and taking them through what the rental process looks like in New York City. So the first thing I always recommend, and again, this is my way of doing things. Other agents might do things a little bit differently. I find that this saves me the most time, energy, and money by doing these steps in this order, right? And so the first thing I always do, right, be it and again, I don't take lead network leads. So let's say this was a lead network lead. Let's say this was a friend being referred to me. Let's say this was someone on Renthop, right? I always make sure that I review the process of working with me, either in person or virtually. Make sure they have their paperwork together. And again, this is so you are able to deal with how quickly things are renting right now. Again, anyone who's been doing this for the last year, we saw that up basically until vaccines were really rolling out in March and April. The rental market was one where most buildings were paying us a fee, and most of the time things were staying on the market for some time. Fast forward to about 2 months ago, everything is going extremely quickly if it's well priced or if it's a good apartment. Again, I'm not saying everything's going extremely fast, but well priced properties are going fast. Most management companies have an extremely low inventory, right? So there maybe in March or April they had 10 apartments available. They might only have one right now, right? And again, that's just a signal of what's going on. So I make sure that people are prepared for the market we're in and that they know the documents they need. They have their paperwork together, and they've signed the required forms. And again, the required forms when you're working with a tenant that you're showing multiple apartments to are the tenant registration fee agreement, the disclosure form, and the fair housing form. I left COVID forms on here because some buildings still require them. 90% of the time, no one's asking for the COVID forms anymore, so you don't have to get them signed. If you want to, you can, not a problem. And again, I always send these to people over DocuSign, right? It's a great way to send it to them. If you don't have access to the templates and you're going to be doing rentals, send me an email saying, hey, can you send me these templates over DocuSign? I will share them with you and we'll go over what that looks like in a minute, so you can send them to your clients. Just to go over quickly what the rental documentation typically is, right? And I say typically because every landlord has a different set of documents that they require, right? Every broker might ask for different requirements. The main thing is that when we're working with our clients, that we give them a list of potentially what they need so they have it together. And when we're taking them out, we always want to defer to the landlord's agent for what they actually need, right? One thing that they often need is to what we would call qualify for a rental. And to qualify, most of the time, a landlord will require that the monthly income is some multiple of their yearly income, right? And so the 40X rule tends to apply in most situations. For a $2,000 apartment, they want to see that the person makes $80,000 a month. For a $3,000 apartment, they want to see if they make $120,000. Sorry, a year. I apologize, a year. $80,000 a year, $120,000 a year, right? Sometimes they say 35, sometimes they say 50 times, right? And that's up to every landlord to have that. One thing to know, and again, many people work or are currently working with people who have some assistance program, be it a voucher, be it something from the state and things like that. If the landlord has some sort of income qualification guideline, technically and by law, that voucher meets that, right? If the rent is $2,000 a month, they have a voucher for $2,000 a month, they do not need to make $80,000 a year to qualify for that apartment, right? Not something that you need to argue with the listing agent, but if you find yourself in a situation where they're saying, nope, they don't make enough money, let me know. We have ways to report them because that is against New York and New York City law. Just to put that out there. And again, we won't go into the nitty gritty of that here, but again, let me know if they say, nope, that doesn't count, they don't qualify. Oftentimes what people will need are these things, right? An application. We have a white grid application that they can fill out. A lot of landlords will have their own application, maybe online. An employment letter, and that employment letter should be on company letterhead with their salary, position, length of employment, any bonus, signed by someone with contact information, 2 to 3 recent pay stubs, usually a tax return, 1 to 2 years, especially if they're self-employed. Oftentimes, they'll only ask for the first 2 pages, the 1040 pages. Sometimes they want everything. 2 to 3 most recent bank statements. If they have investments to show that they have great assets, great, include those. A copy of their ID, and an application credit check fee. And again, for a rental building, the maximum for that should be $20 that they're charging. So I go over this with people over the phone, right? Or over Zoom or FaceTime or however I can. I want to go over the process, right? And I tell them what they're going to need to put together for documentation, what it's like to work with me and things like that. And I follow that up with an email, right? And this is my sample rental consultation email. After I do it, I send it to them. And again, I say that I send over the documentation, I send them our application, I tell them that I want them to have this together before we go out. And most other agents will ask me for a general financial picture, so ask for this up front. Again, I have these items. And I say the brokerage fee varies from apartment to apartment. And these days, some landlords are paying my fee. If there is one paid by the tenant, it usually ranges from 1 month to 15% of a year's rent, right? And that's how I disclose to them what our maximum fee is, right? It's 15% of a year's rent, and that it could be paid by the owner or could be paid by that. I also say the landlord will require the first month's rent, security deposit, and brokerage fee are due at lease signing. These will have to be certified checks, the big checks that you get directly from the teller at the bank or wire transfer. You can pay by personal check or direct deposit after you move in. Great, right? And so what this is doing, this is covering all my bases. What documentation they need, what the brokerage fee is, and what they're going to need at lease signing. And why do I do this? Because sometimes this will have people say, oh, I don't have enough money up front. This is not going to work for me. Not a problem, right? And I just saved myself running around showing a bunch of apartments to someone who doesn't want to work with me. Oh, hey, I don't want to pay a fee at all. No problem. I'm only going to send you things that are no fee. And maybe I can't find you anything. But again, I'm not going to run around, do searching for things that are fee apartments and you then bring up that you don't want to pay a fee, right? And so my best practice, and I recommend this to all of you, is to always do a rental consultation before you bring someone out. Or if you really want to meet them first, do it at the first showing or right after the first showing. This will save you tons of time down the road. You're not wasting your time. They know that there could be a fee. And again, they might say, I don't want to pay a fee. Great. I'm only going to send you things that are no fee. Maybe there's nothing on the market for them. Don't take them out, right? It's going to save you time. I'd rather be upfront, give them the information they need and build a relationship with them and maybe not find them something, but then stay in touch with them in case they have friends to refer to, right? And I can tell you that's happened before. I've had people, they're like, yeah, I don't really want to pay a fee. It was a friend of someone. I'm like, great, here's some resources for you. They're not paying my fee right now. And later on, they've sent me referrals, right? So again, you're helping someone learn the process. Doesn't take that long to do this, maybe 15 minutes. And again, it pays dividends down the road. So again, after you've gathered the docs and get the disclosures signed, you want to use the criteria to set up showings, right? Brokers will usually ask for information on your clients. And that's why it's good to have a conversation with them. Do the rental consultation with them. Find out, through the tenant registration fee agreement, what they do, kind of general income and stuff like that. Rental brokers can be extremely flaky. We're trying to change that stereotype and really get back to people, right? And again, you need these forms at the first appointment or before you take them out. Those 3 forms, right? The tenant registration fee agreement, the agency disclosure form, and the fair housing anti-discrimination form. Again, viewing apartments is the fun part. Be on time. I always say don't talk too much. Know the answer to common questions, get their reaction. Again, follow up with the broker management feedback, right? This is a best practice that I have that I would say 90% of brokers don't do. And you really start to see who's a good broker by the ones who do this, right? Every time I take someone to see a rental apartment, a sale apartment, whatever it is, if they don't want it, I send an email later that day or the next day at the latest to the agent who showed us the apartment saying, thank you so much for your time. And again, I did this. I went out on Sunday with a buyer of mine, right? And I'm just gonna use that as an example. We saw 5 apartments, right? And he put in an offer on 1, but the 4 that we didn't, I said, thank you so much for your time. Unfortunately, it was too small for him. Unfortunately, it wasn't his top choice. I'm going to keep it in mind for other clients. Best of luck with the property, right? And people are like, and again, I did this with another sale client that I had a couple weeks ago. And the broker said, he called me. He was like, I just want to let you know, you're one of the few brokers that do this. Thank you so much. I'm going to share this feedback with my client, with his client, the seller, right? And again, the same thing. I always like to get feedback from brokers because even with rental listings, hey, this is overpriced. Everything is much nicer in the neighborhood. Or, it's a great size, just doesn't work for them because they have a dog, something like that, right? Whatever that is, it helps both parties, right? It helps you look great as an agent, and it helps the other agent to get feedback and kind of follow up with their owner about what's going on. So again, you find an apartment that they like, great, you're going to apply for the apartment, right? You always defer to the listing agent or the management company for what the requirements are. Every landlord and every broker has different requirements. I actually really like to ask for the application beforehand, right? Before I take a client out. And then again, some of you are working with, big management companies, it's probably on their website. But if it's an individual broker, just be like, hey, just wanted to see, what does this owner ask for so I can have it ready just in case they like it. And again, being prepared wins apartments in the end. Again, if they need us to do a credit check, we collect $20 and we need our application done. Again, we send it to Patty, which again, if you need that, just let me know and I'll forward you over to her. She'll run the credit check and get it back to you. Great, you're approved, right? You negotiate, you're approved, whatever it is. Usually the lease signing happens the next day, right? It's very quick. And so that's why letting your clients know they need all this money up front is important. The leases are going to be prepared by the listing agent or the management company. Again, they'll probably have questions. You can kind of review it. Again, I always say, hey, I'm not a lawyer, but this looks good to me. Hey, I'm not a lawyer, but it doesn't seem to show that you're getting a month free. If that's something that's in there. Just a reminder, riders that are needed for all leases: lead paint, bed bug, window guard, sprinkler, stove knob, right? We've got 5 now that are part of the lease. If some of those are missing, hey, let the landlord know, right? Great. Payment and processing, right? So again, when they sign the lease, they're going to pay their first month's rent, their security deposit, and most likely a broker fee these days, right? And so again, they have to pay. Again, if they're paying us, check payable to Weicker Property, certified check, or they can wire us the funds, and I can give you directions for the wire and stuff like that. If you need an invoice, again, you'll make the invoice off the paperwork and stuff like that. All the invoices are in the shared Google Drive, so you have access to everything there. And again, what do you need to be paid? So you need the Weicker transaction form for rentals, the first and signature page of the lease, the agency disclosure form, the fair housing disclosure form, and a check if we're not invoicing for an OP. If it's an OP, you send the OP. Send me all this documentation, and when we get the OP, I'll put it in. And again, many of I know Ken, I think you're on the call. I've got these, a binder here of OPs we're waiting on. When management companies pay us, some pay within 2 weeks. Most, I would say, take 2 months. So it is a little bit of a delay, but send me all the paperwork so we have it ready to go and stuff like that. After the deal, right? And again, this is where a lot of people say, I made money, boom, I'm done with you, right? This is great, and this is where the My Weicker system really helps. I always follow up. How did the move-in go, right? Maybe they're taking possession October 1st, and they're moving in the 5th. On the 5th, text them, right? Put in your calendar, text Joe, he's moving in. Add them and change them around in My Weicker so you can put the important dates in, right? I go into My Weicker and I put in a reminder, again, if the lease starts October 1st and ends September 30th of a year forward, I'm going to put in a reminder to myself in July to follow up with that client, right? Hey, how's it going? Are you thinking about renewing? I know you mentioned before you were thinking about buying, and again, I always try to follow up. And again, I'm really bad at this these days, but at least twice a year with every past client that I have, and hopefully every quarter, right? And maybe it's just saying, hey, how are things going? Happy Memorial Day or whatever it is. Again, many people will get a move-in gift or some sort of, again, small token, right? Why do you do this? Because it helps differentiate you, right? You're building a relationship with these clients. And I can tell you that many of my low-end or entry-level rental clients use me again 2 years later and then use me to buy something, right? And so being nice, again, small moving gift, right? Maybe you made $1,000 on the commission, buy them, give them a $25 gift card, right? Give them the $50 bottle of wine, whatever it is, you get a sense of what they like, and if they move neighborhoods, right? Maybe they moved to the West Village from the Upper East Side, get them a gift card to your favorite restaurant in the West Village, right? $50, 20, even $25 to a coffee shop or something like that, right? Just like, welcome to the neighborhood. I often send candles, right? There's a really great fragrance company that I love. It's New York based. I send candles to my rental clients, and I usually get perfume for my sale clients from this place because I love the company. Think of something that makes you, and again, it can be a $10 gift, right? All it really is just thinking about them and giving them something to remember you. Hey, a magnet, right? They're going to think of you when they're looking at their fridge every day. Always ask them for a review. And again, if you rent it to them through Renthop, ask for it on Renthop. If you rent it to them on Zillow, ask for it through, or sorry, if it's not on Renthop, ask for it through Zillow. The Zillow review will feed to your My Weicker account, so it will be on there. And again, always ask them for referrals. Hey, we had such a great time working together. I'd love to help any of your friends and family looking to buy, sell, or rent something, right? And remind them, right? You got to remind people to get referrals. And again, I can tell you, past clients are going to be your best source. Again, not to toot my own horn, but Suzanne can talk about this. Many of our agents who've been in the business for over 5 years, most of their business comes from referrals, right? And I'm going on a listing presentation next weekend based on a sale that I did last year, right? And I stayed in touch with that client. She referred me to a friend of hers who's looking to rent a very expensive apartment. So that's your best bet of more business, is past business that you have and people really warming up to you. So stay in touch with these rental clients, right? That's the most important thing here, I think. Again, just to go over rental documentation requirements, you can find everything on the Google Drive. So if you go into Google, and again, I'm gonna go into my Google. It's here. You guys can still see the screen? Okay, so if you go into your Gmail account, and again, that's why it's so important that everyone has a Gmail account for real estate. If you go here in the top corner to Google Apps and go into Drive, it's going to open up your Google Drive. And here on the left, there's a button that's shared with me, right? And I'm going to click on here just to show you what it looks like. But again, there's going to be files here, and these are ones that other people shared with you. I'm going to go back into my drive just because you're going to see in, not this one, you're going to see in your shared drive, if you have it from me, this file that says Weicker Properties MIC files, right? Because I've shared this with most of you. If I haven't shared it with you, send me a quick text or email, say, hey, I don't have the New York files. Can you please share them with me, right? So if we click on here and send me your Gmail account that you want to share with. But in here is all of our documents that used to be in my Weicker, right? They're all in here now. So we have processing worksheets, sale and sale listings, rental and rental listings, disclosure forms, agent forms, the logo, buyer consultation, revenue statement, listing presentation, our broker's license, our W-9, everything that you could possibly need. And again, if I go under here under rental and rental listings, there's some sample leases and riders, the tenant registration fee agreement, OP invoice, all this stuff, right? So basically everything's in here that you could possibly need. If there's something that you're like, I always need this file, I don't know where it is, let me know, I'll put it in here. You know, our application's in here. And what you want to do is, again, you can go in here, here's a rental application, you can always get it, go up here in the top right corner, download it, you got it on your computer, now it's going to be a fillable form, right? So you can send this to your client. The other thing is that I have, let me just go into DocuSign. I've also started, I've started to convert all of our forms that are frequently used into DocuSigns, right? And so if you go under templates, under your files, and again, this is, I'm the manager, so I have these, I can share with you the COVID forms, which again, we don't really use anymore, but the landlord or tenant disclosure forms, the tenant registration fee agreement, the Weicker Properties application, and these will be ones that you can then, again, just click on use here, and you can send it to the tenant, you put your information in, and it will send to them the form over DocuSign. They can sign it, you can put in the information, they can put in the information they need, goes back to you, boom, you're good to go. Right? So it's a fast way of doing it, getting it signed, and everyone getting a copy of it. Okay, so let me go back to here. So again, you go into Google Drive, share with me, Weicker Properties files. Again, tenant registration and fee agreement. What this is the form that allows your prospective renter you're working with to put in what they're looking for. And it also is what fulfills our requirements under fair housing to tell them that our fee can be up to 15% of a year's rent, right? And again, it's important to say up to 15% of a year's rent, right? And so what do you do if they're like, I don't want to pay a fee? You're like, great, not a problem. This just says that it's up to 15%. But in here, right, when you put in the apartments you're showing them, you put in building address, it will say, actually, let me just open the file. It'll be a little easy to see it. DocuSign. Right, so they put their price range, agent, all this stuff, what they're looking for, right? And this says you'll pay 15% only after you rent an apartment or a building complex shown to you by Weicker Properties. And again, down here, you put the date, the address, the fee amount, and you initial it, right? And so what this is saying is that you could put in here, no fee paid by landlord. Or you could put in here 1 month fee, and you can put in 15% fee, co-broke, whatever it is, right? 12% fee, because so you can put in here what the fee is, right? And so this allows you to change things around. And again, what you'll want to do is put in everything that you're showing on the first day and what the fees are. They can initial it, and then the next time you can just hand write in and initial it as well. So again, this is a way to tell people what the fee is. And again, that it could be up to a certain point. Again, the disclosure form, you guys are extremely familiar with this. You know, again, all you're going to be filling in is the form is provided to me by your name. You're working as the tenant, as tenant's agent. You put their name in, tenant, sign date, boom, you're good to go on everything that you show them. And the same for the anti-discrimination form. They sign it once, you're good to go. And again, these forms are also in DocuSign. I can share the template with you if you'd like it. And that way you can just automatically, you type in your client's name in email, you put your name and email in, you fill out what you need to, they fill out what they need to. You're good to go. Okay, any questions about that portion of it? What the process of renting in New York looks like, and what documents you need and how to kind of talk to anyone. I'd like to address those for a second, and then we can talk about open listings and Renthop.
Jason, it's Kirsten.
Hey.
Just when you were looking at the tenant registration and fee agreement,
Sure.
and where you were listing the
pull it up.
apartments that you're going to see. So I have struggled with that in the past because I've been scrambling to get keys, and then you find out something's not available anymore. And how do you provide a clear picture of what you're showing them?
Sure.
When you really don't necessarily know until like the minute you're setting out.
Definitely. So, a couple things. So one thing that usually, right? Usually when I send that initial rental consultation email, and let me just go back to that to show it to you. Let me go back to this. So when I send this email, and I basically usually just cut and paste this exact email, and again, I go over this over the phone and then I put it in writing. The brokerage fee varies from apartment to apartment, and these days some landlords are paying my fee. If there is one paid by the tenant, usually it's from 1 month, 50% of a year's rent, right? Usually when you put it in writing, if they didn't say it over the phone, they'll tell you, hey Kirsten, you know what, 15% is way too much for us. We really only want to see things where the landlords pay. Right.
Right. Okay.
So when they sign the tenant registration fee agreement, again, in the first ones that you're going to be showing them, you can put the address and you put no fee paid by landlord, no fee paid by landlord. They'll sign it. After you show those, right, they might say, you know what, none of these no fee ones work for us. We're willing to pay up to a month's fee. And you can say, great. When we go out tomorrow, I'm going to put these new ones on, and on here I'm going to write 1 month fee, 1 month fee. Is that okay? And then they'll say yes. And if they say no, be like, okay, I can't show you that.
Okay.
And things will change, right? And that's why, when I take someone out, and again, usually if you're doing, if you're using Renthop, most of the time you're going to be advertising no fee places because you'll get more hits. Not to say you're going to rent them a no fee place, but when you meet with them, you have that conversation. Would you be willing to pay a 1 month fee? There's a lot of listings where I can collect 1 month and that's the only fee you would pay. Would that be okay? And then they say yes. Then again, then you write in those addresses and have them sign for a 1 month thing. Or send them an email. Hey, just want to confirm tomorrow we're seeing apartments. It's going to be a 1 month fee.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Again, that to me, having this conversation up front is so important. Because people are pretty honest. Hey, I don't want to pay 15%. Hey, I don't want to pay a month. Right? Great, not a problem. I'll show you what I can, and there might not be a lot out there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we're going to be talking about open listings and how to kind of build your rental client network. So again, we kind of discussed at the beginning, but an open listing is a listing that no company or single agent is giving the exclusive. Usually these are landlords who are, again, oftentimes larger landlords, big management companies. Sometimes it's small landlords that just don't want to give an exclusive, and they just want people, whoever wants to help them rent an apartment can help them rent an apartment. Usually the landlords will distribute them via e-blast lists, and e-blasts are an email that you'll get every day, every week, every month, whatever it is, with a list of what's on the market for this landlord. They're usually also on their website. They're oftentimes on StreetEasy, and they're oftentimes on OLR, right? And oftentimes they're advertised by the management company themselves or the owner themselves on those different websites, right? Unless you have express permission in writing from the landlord or management agent, you cannot advertise them on StreetEasy, right? Because again, the owner usually advertises them themselves. But most of the time, they're okay with us advertising on third-party websites to try to get clients, right? So they don't want you advertising on any website they're advertising on, Zillow, Trulia, StreetEasy, Realtor.com, potentially things like that. But these kind of open listing websites, and again, there's a couple of them. The main ones tend to be Renthop and Craigslist, but there are a couple other smaller ones and stuff like that that you can advertise on. So again, how do you find open rental listings, right? The first two are probably your best bet, OLR and StreetEasy. But you can kind of do some searching on Renthop, which again doesn't make to try to find more of these open listing landlords, and we'll talk about that in a second. Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, you can really find them anywhere, right? We'll get back to that in a second, but I just want to make something very clear. There's a term called OP, right? And that is short for owner pays. And an OP is when the management company or owner is willing to pay a fee to an agent who brings a tenant that is qualified and signs the lease for the listing, right? Most of the time, or many times, it's a 1 month fee. Sometimes it's half a month. For a while, it was 1.5 to 2 months OP when the market was bad. Again, right now we're seeing a lot of landlords aren't paying an OP anymore because the market's good. And so because we know that Weikert's being paid by the owner, you can advertise these on these open sites as a no fee listing since we're collecting from the owner, right? And so again, Renthop, Craigslist, Facebook, probably the best place to advertise to get clients and show, and hopefully then collect a fee from the tenant. Oh, sorry, from the owner. So again, OLR is a great place to look. Management company websites, signing up for e-blasts and Nestio feeds. Again, I'll show you an example of what one of those looks like in a moment. But again, we're going to start with OLR because to me, this is the easiest place to do it. So how do we find open listings on OLR, right? So we're going to do a rental search. We're going to choose a neighborhood. We're going to put in a price range. And again, I usually do $1 to $5,000. Under concessions, we're going to check off owner pays. And under listing source type, we're going to check off open listings only, right? So we're going to go through this right now, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So I'm on OLR. I'm going to make this bigger. I'm going to search listings, Manhattan, rentals. Let's do Chelsea and Greenwich Village and West Village from $1 to $5,000. Here under concessions, I want to check on OP, owner pays. And under listing source type, I want to check on open listings only, right? We don't want exclusives. We don't want anything like that. So I'm going to hit run search. 2, right? And again, right now, a lot of buildings are not paying OPs anymore. So we only have 2, whereas probably if you did this search 2 months ago, we'd have like 30. So 121 West 31st Street, the Epic. Again, this is a nice rental building I've done rentals in before, owned by Fettner. They are paying 1 month on the net effective rent, and they're giving 1 month free to the tenant on a 12-month lease. This building is giving a half month OP, right? Manhattan Skyline often does them again. So these are 2 apartments that you can potentially advertise on Renthop, on Craigslist, on Facebook and stuff like that, and try to get a client that you can take to show it, and then maybe they'll rent it, right? So it's kind of as simple as that. Now, the other place you can go is to their websites, right? And let's do this, right? So I want to go to Manhattan Skyline's website. If I click here and go through, again, this has been on the market forever. I saw an apartment in this building. It's a little on the not, I don't want to say anything bad, but if I go to a company website, it will hopefully open their company website, right? And so here you go. So here's the apartment. So you can get a sense of what it looks like. And again, it looks, it's okay. Nothing crazy, but good location, 33, no fee apartment, great. And again, we know they're paying us a half a month. So if I go to buildings here, let's say we want to do Midtown, and it'll tell you, right? So this building in Midtown West has 4 apartments available, right? And so what we can do is then we can kind of backtrack. We can go here. We can put this back into OLR. And again, I know it's a different neighborhood. and let's see if they're offering an OP there, right? So that's a way you find one apartment, maybe the building has more. Let's see if they're paying an OP. OP, right? So they're paying an OP on this building too. So it seems like they're paying, it might be a half month, but let's just double check. 1 month. And they're giving a $500 Amex gift card, right? So Manhattan Skyline actually was giving $500 gift cards to you. So that's an extra $500 that you get, right? And you know, Christine's done a couple of these rentals where she was getting Amex gift cards and stuff like that too. So so yeah, so that's just one way of doing it. Now the other thing you can do is now go to contact us, right? And send an email and just say, hey, it's Jason with Weichert. I hope you're doing well. I just want to see if you guys have an e-blast or e-list where you send out your listings every day, every week. I'd love to get on that. And I do the same thing here. You know, email through OLR. Hey, looks like a great apartment. Want to see if it's still available. By the way, do you have an e-blast list? I'd love to sign up for it. And what those lists look like. Let me see if I have one. Two trees. Are like this, right? So every morning from Two Trees Dumbo, I get this email, available tours of all listings. They send out what they have available because again, things change so frequently. Here's all their apartments, right? And I get this every morning. And again, at this point, it says brokers must CYOF, so they're not paying a fee anymore. They were for a while. Again, it changes every day, and so getting the e-blast can be more up to date than anything else. So it's a great way to get these listings and stuff like that. And again, you'll find that as you're searching in certain neighborhoods and stuff like that, you'll know certain landlords. Again, if you're working in Brooklyn, there are certain landlords. You know, Lower East Side, there's certain landlords, different price points. But again, you know, given how tight the rental market is right now, you might be able to. And again, there are some management companies that aren't paying OPs, but that are still good value apartments. You can also advertise on Renthop or these third-party websites for things that are not paying the OP, right? So I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller. I'm going to take off the OP and let's just see what things I could collect your own fee, right? So there's 6. So again, Metro Nest is not paying an OP, but you know, 2-bedroom, 3,800. You know, Brodsky's a nice one, 3,600. This is studio, but these are usually pretty big. A studio, but maybe you can advertise. Oh, this is across the street from my apartment. 2,700 1-bedroom, West Village, pets allowed. Great. You know, it's not the nicest building, but they are actually, it's a great location. And this one, you know, small bedrooms, but again, 2,700 for great location, just came on the market. This is going to rent quickly. Again, advertise it. You put it out as 1 month fee and you collect from the tenant in this case. Okay, so let me go back to the slides. Anyone have any questions about kind of how to find these? Okay. So again, find the open landlords and ask to be added to their e-blast list, distribution list. You know, I can send you a link if you want to a lot of the ones in Manhattan and again, what it is I have a list of a lot of the landlords. And what you do is you can email them to ask to be added to the distribution list. And again, Renthop, Craigslist, Facebook, Instagram, great places to advertise. We're going to just focus on Renthop because this is the best bang for your buck we found. You know, many agents are using this, doing multiple rentals a month, especially in the OP market. It was really great. Slowed down a little bit, but again, people are still getting a lot of hits on this. So Renthop is a third-party website which allows us to post our exclusives, right? And again, if you have exclusive rentals, that's great. You can get clients off here. And again, you know, a lot of the great thing about having one exclusive is that you'll get a ton of people to work with, right? I'm just going to do a very quick 64 Fourth Place is an apartment that I have, right? And almost every day, like you can see, these are all requests to see it, right? So almost every day I'm getting like at least 10 new people who are looking. And again, it's not going to work out for a lot of them, but these are people that you could potentially work with, right? And these are people that the agents who are helping me with these listings, they're getting people to work with. And we've done a lot of listings off of that. So having exclusive listings is a really great thing. And you can also put open listings on Renthop. And again, it's the most effective site for posting the open listings. Some agents are doing 5 to 7 rentals a month off of it. Again, look for the best apartments, right? Inexpensive. a free rent, reduced security, outdoor space, lots of character, whatever it is. The pricing is this. It's about $70 a month for the silver, $149 for the gold, and $199 for the platinum. Again, start off small, right? Start off with the silver. Give it about 2 months to really ramp up as you're getting people out there. And again, follow up with them. The most important thing is that any questions about what documentation you need, the application, always ask the management, right? And that's why it's important to ask up front what's going on and what they're going to need. I'm just going to show you kind of what Renthop looks like here. Right, so this is Renthop. And again, I'm going to show you first what it looks like as a consumer. Let's say we're looking in Greenwich Village. We want a 1-bedroom. Right, here's a bunch of apartments, 54 apartments. And we're just going to click on no fee. So these are all no fee, right? And so 4th and 13th Street, Evan Schatz, right? So this is potentially, and again, 4th Avenue, 4th Avenue, 4th Avenue, 4th Avenue. You can see these people aren't putting the address because they're all advertising from different companies, right? So there's probably, this guy's from Bond. Let's see where the other ones are from. If it's one company, they probably have a limited listing on it. So they might. Hires.com, I don't even know what that, HLRES.com. So again, Highline Residential, right? So this looks like it's an open listing or limited listing, right? So you can probably advertise this too. And you might say, well, why would I advertise something other people are advertising? Well, you never know if someone's going to like your picture, your bio, your information, right? Hey, this is that same one on 13th Street, right? Greenleaf Management is advertising this, no fee. So this is probably the management company. Again, you can tell by these photos, right? So maybe you take better photos. Maybe you put neighborhood photos. Maybe you've got a better description. There's not much in Greenwich Village, but let's see what we can find for, let's try the West Village. 26, right? Horatio. This is 95 Horatio. I can tell by the beam in there, right? So 95 Horatio, 210 West 10th. Again, this might be an open listing. This might be something else. But again, you can put these in. Basically, the way it works is that, here, 95 Horatio. Here's another one. Christine, right? And we're going to talk about Christine. She's one of our top rental agents. She's got a lot of reviews. She put these photos up. Again, very short description, and we're going to talk about how to do this. So that's on the consumer side. But again, you can use it as an agent on the consumer side to try to find some things that maybe you're missing, right? Okay, I can't tell what's this one, right? She's with Highline Residential. This is 666 Greenwich. I can tell by the photos, right? And again, if you have a question, I can try to help you figure it out. The 95 Horatio, West 13th Street, there's a number of these, Christopher Street, but just try to find them. Okay, so I'm going to go in as, I'm in as me, but I'm going to log out. I'm going to go in as Christine so you can see what this looks like. There we go. Okay, so, and again, I'm just going to show you, Christine currently has 17 rentals up, right? There's a number of things, 2nd Avenue, Bridge Street, Rockwell Place. And she's got things in different neighborhoods, different price points, 3,500, 3,600. Let's see, some of these are no fee, right? It's always gonna be the first thing she puts in here. She's using the photos directly from the management companies that she gets, the floor plan if they have it. And again, I'm just gonna quickly go here, but if you look at messages, she's getting multiple messages a day. And again, she was on vacation, but in a given week, she usually gets, she gets about 30 messages a week. And so those messages are people that you could potentially work with, right? And again, this one was one in Long Island City. This one was Upper East Side, different neighborhoods, different things, lots of stuff out there. And again, it's about connecting with people that you can potentially work with. And maybe they responded to a no fee thing and you get in a relationship with them and you show them that it doesn't work for them. Hey, you're willing to pay a 1-month fee. Let me show you something else, right? And so a lot of this is about building the relationship, but just, you can easily post stuff. I'm just going to go in here. Actually, I'm going to go in as me. Password. Good. Okay. So I'm going to go to listings. add new listing here, right? Address. Let's do 95 par ratio, 5B. Display address, West Village, amazing lofts, right? It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The monthly rent is $59.99. If it's a net effective rent, you can put net effective rent. Reduced fee, square feet, 1,000. Available date, October 1st. No fee, amazing 3-bedroom, lots of light, and fireplace. Something like that, right? You post it, right? You put the features on, photos, save listing, boom, it's live. These stay active for a couple days. Basically, what you want to do is post every 2 to 3 days, different apartments, and again, you'll start getting the rhythm of it to get more things from this. Again, right now, a lot of things are going to be fee apartments because of how tight the rental market is. But again, a lot of people are willing to pay a 1-month fee, so definitely something you can do. Again, cost benefit analysis, right? You pay for 2 months of Renthop, it's about $140. If you do one rental with a $2,000 OP, even if you're, at the lowest split as a new agent, you get $1,000 of that. You're making $860 profit, pretty good return, right? Not too bad. So some agents do multiple rentals a month, no referral fees due. And again, this is going to start building up your contacts and clients and the people you're working with in the future, as long as you stay in touch with them. So that's it for me. Any questions people have? I'm going to stop the share, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
I got one more question.
Sure.
And there is a no fee and also, oh, no fee.
Wait, I'm sorry. Owner pays or net effective rent. You know what I'm trying, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so I think what Kirsten's trying to mention is that sometimes if the owner's paying the fee, they're either paying our fee or they're giving 1 month free to the tenant.
Yes, exactly. How do you position that to somebody and then how do you advertise that?
Sure. So on Renthop, you could advertise it twice, right? And do it separately. One could be at the higher rent with no fee, and one could be at the lower rent with a 1 month fee. That's it. You pick one way, right?
Thank you for understanding what I was trying to say.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so you have 2 options. I would say, maybe on Monday advertise it one way, on Wednesday advertise it the other way, and see which gets you more responses. And again, just know you won't always get a response, right? Some of it's luck, sometimes it's the market, sometimes it's the time of the month, the time you post, the number of other people who put the listing up, who knows, right? So a lot of it's just about posting, and that $70 gets you, I think, 150 credits, and I think it's like 2 credits per listing, so you get about 75 posts. So again, if you're posting every 2 days, imagine that you want to post mostly in the first part of the month, just because again, right after October 1st is great because a lot of people are looking for November 1st. So, you're going to use up most of your credits in the first portion of the month, I would say. So if you're posting, I usually say try to have like at least 5 listings up, ideally 10, because you don't know what's going to get the hits.
Jason, I have a question unrelated to the presentation.
Okay. If it's unrelated, I'm gonna stop the presentation and let you guys go. But thank you guys for your time.